Hello, Internet, and welcome to this installment of Ask Hua Li, a place where you, a bunch of strangers on the Internet, put your future relationship success on the shoulders of me, a relatively unknown but very confident rapper. As always, I implore you to send questions in to bit.ly/askwali, for if you are not making reckless and foolish decisions with your life, I will have nothing to do but pass my long days by endlessly scrolling Instagram and considering whether I really ought to get that sourdough starter after all. Our question this time around comes from Abundantly Adulterous, and they write, Dear Hua Li, I have been in a serious partnership for several years. In February, I went on vacation by myself in Paris and was staying with an old friend that I had some flirtatious history with. My partner and I trust each other deeply, and they know about this history, and sometimes I even talk to them about it on the phone while I was gone. On the last night in Paris, my old friend and I partied really hard and ended up bringing back 3 other people to their place. The hangout ended up becoming an incredible group sex experience that I still think about all the time. I want to tell my partner about it, but I'm scared that they will be angry with me for cheating on them with 4 other people. The thing is, I loved this experience and I desperately wish I could share it with my partner. Now we are isolated together and I am overcome with guilt as I see them every day and wish I could share this with them. How do I broach the subject about the incredible group sex adultery I had with my partner? Sincerely, Abundantly Adulterous. Well, Abundantly, this is certainly an interesting situation. I hear that you have pretty much resolved to tell your partner about this, which is great. But I should mention, I don't necessarily believe that every indiscretion in a relationship should necessarily be confessed. Some relationship experts believe that if it's kind of a one-time mistake and you feel repentant, and you don't think that your relationship would be able to survive confessing an adulterous situation, sometimes it can be better to make the executive decision to live with that guilt on your own, commit to growing, and putting a lot more effort and value into not taking your relationship for granted. That said, I think in general, if there's enough safety and understanding in a relationship, it's usually better to confess these types of transgressions. Cheating definitely threatens trust in a relationship, but I think hiding a secret long-term from your partner can erode transparency and honesty in a relationship, and that can really, really start to percolate outward. Something that makes your situation a little bit unique, Abundantly, is that you are currently isolated with your partner. I would really, really recommend that before you have this conversation, you think about whether or not you and your partner have adequate space so that you can take some time away from each other to process your feelings. If you're in a very small space and your environment might contribute to more volatility, I highly recommend either waiting until we're less in a lockdown time or finding a space outside of the home to have this conversation. One of the most important parts of 2 people coming together is that negotiation of exclusivity. Whether you're monogamous, non-monogamous, whatever, there's a certain negotiation made that creates a sense of specialness around a partnership. And so if you have gone and changed the terms of this contract without talking to your partner about it first, it can create a situation where there are a lot of hurt feelings. When you decide to tell your partner about what happened in Paris, I think it's really important for you to acknowledge your partner's feelings and respond to them. Admit that you did something wrong and feel guilty about it, but try to share with your partner how important it is to you that you're able to have an open dialogue about it. Make sure your partner understands that you're committed to focusing on strengthening your bond. And find out from your partner what rebuilding trust might look like to them. When you tell them, try to decide what accountability looks like for both of you. I think coming clean is a really important first step, but it's just the beginning in terms of rebuilding trust between the 2 of you. Remember that owning up to your actions might create huge waves in your relationship at first, but that respect and mutual affection can go a long way in terms of getting things on an even keel again. I think especially because you're interested in exploring experiences like this with your partner in the future, it's important to make sure that they feel like they can rely on you and trust you. My hope for you abundantly is that you two are able to have this very, very difficult conversation and define for yourselves how to rebuild your relationship. And hopefully, ultimately, be able to explore more of these fantasies that you have together without having to hide in secret. Well, abundantly, I hope this was helpful, and I wish you the absolute best with this very difficult conversation you have ahead of you. That brings us to the end of this installment of Ask Hua Li, but that doesn't mean that there won't be many, many more if you submit your questions to bit.ly/askhhuali. That's bit.ly/askhhuali.